Correct.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Thursday episode of the Hawg Talk podcast presented to you by Vision Exteriors. Tonight, we are going to talk about the Silverfield press conference with Hunter Yurchek. We'll go over the Arkansas-Louisville game and then get into the CFP drama with Vanderbilt. Dive right into it. Adam, we're going to start off with basketball tonight. I know we've been really relying heavy on the coaching search and Silverfield. We can get into his press conference later on, but I really want to get into the Louisville game last night. Dominant performance by Arkansas. It really showed what happened when people show up, show out, the atmosphere. Silverfield got announced. He was there hyping it up with the student section and everything about it from the start to finish. You know, I know we were texting during the game and I get superstitious. Once I start watching it a certain way, I don't veer off. When I got home, I was checking the score periodically on ESPN app, and I would not turn it on because they pulled within, I think, 7 at one point. But you just never thought that the game was out of hand. Trevin Brazil played out of his mind in the first half. Darius Acuff, coming out party, and against a very good Louisville team that I don't think that they knew what they were getting themselves into with Bud Walton Arena. You know, they have the game with Kentucky, and that's their game, and they play in these marquee games. But I think they underestimated Arkansas a little bit.
100%. And, you look at the first half into the second half, and I mean, if it wasn't for that 17-point lead, I think we got up to 20 at one point or another. But that huge lead, I mean, Arkansas probably would have lost that game.
Yeah.
And Trevin Brazil, played out of his mind. The injury in the first half, at the end of the first half, luckily it looked to be light, taped it up, came back out, because I know when he hit, like it looked like there was a pop there, and the way he immediately grabbed, I was thinking Achilles, but luckily it wasn't that. He was a little bit more timid in the second half, but the whole team was. At the same time, yes, you let Louisville back in the game. Yes, it was a little bit too close for comfort, especially when you're up 20. But at the same time, I think they got it within 5 at one point in time. So you never got it back down to a single possession, which gives you a little bit of breathing room. And I think that helped tremendously. And, Cal had the guys keyed in, whether it was timeouts, whether it was him yelling from the side, like every moment that it looked like Arkansas was starting to let things slip away, go back more into Louisville's favor, whether it was Cal or whether it was somebody on the team, they basically got their heads back into it before it turned the other cheek. So I applaud them all. I mean, like you said, Brazil had 21, Acuff with 17, but then, I mean, Malik Ewan, thank you for showing up. 12 points. And I know there's a lot of folks too, I saw in comment sections, dogging Darius Acuff. And I'm just sitting here looking, I mean, 17 points, 10 assists. I mean, yeah, he had 4 turnovers. Same time, I mean, he came out and played. And stuff, the 4 assists, that's going to happen when the ball is in your hands that much. But luckily for Arkansas, there was only 10 turnovers in the whole game. I think Louisville only had 9. So it was a fairly clean game other than, there was several times, especially on one possession with Malik Ewan, the refs were not calling fouls there in the second half, because I know on one rebound, Malik Ewan got hit 3 or 4 times. He ended up throwing the ball off a Louisville player, and he's just looking at the refs like, what do I have to do? Because they were slapping quite a bit.
Yeah. And, there was a lot of people, giving Pringle a lot of crap. And I've said this. I've said this about Pringle, and I've said this about DJ Wagner. You have so much talent on this team to now where you can have a true point guard, and you can have somebody. You see what Brazil's doing. You've needed a true big man on this team, like a Jalen Williams, somebody down low that can get you some points. He scored 2 points, but he was +5. He is one of those that can bring you a defensive presence and get rebounds. That's what you need from him. And I think that's what you can expect from him. You're so used to having to run 1-4 or 4 guys give you 20 points. You have a team now where you can get a floor general. You can have somebody come out there and run the offense, and then you have a defensive present also at your disposal to where, he played 22 minutes. He was 1 for 3. He's not taking that many shots, so he's not overshooting it. He accepts his role. 2 total points, but the fact that he give you 4 rebounds, he's not fouling. That's what happens when you're not playing Duke and they're calling. If he would have settled in and they would have played that game in Arkansas, they would have won that game, because he is effective on defense. And then you go to Trevin Brazil. I know that a lot of people, even Coach Cal, was talking about the play of the game was his block.
Mm-hmm.
There was a moment in the first half where Trevin Brazil was hot, and he brought the ball down the court, passed up on a 3 to get the offense set. Do you realize that is a start where it could break your rhythm? If you come down and just fire up a shot, you miss it, and now your rhythm's off. Your streak's off, and the fact that he come down, stopped it, they got their offense going, shows me maturity in Brazil. And to me, that was the play of the game, because that showed that they're going to settle down, they're going to run through their offense, and they're going to make wise decisions and not just chuck up a 3 because I've hit 3 before. I'm wide open, might as well just shoot it again, because you've seen so many times where you're on this run, all it takes is that one bad shot, then leads to another bad shot. They go on a little run, and now you're tied. I really was impressed by him doing that.
I'm just going to answer this right quick. I know we're going to talk football later. The transfer portal now is not until January 2nd through the 16th. There's no more multiple windows for the transfer portal in football. The game last night, the atmosphere was great. That's one thing that we preach to, if you will. The show before, just everybody showing up, showing out. Mm-hmm. And they did. There was a few times in the second half where I'm like, this crowd's too quiet. And I know a lot doesn't translate very well over to the TV. So maybe it was louder than it seemed. But they got a little bit too quiet for me. At the same time, that's going to happen in a game like this. So the crowd showed up, which was great. When Coach Silverfield was, announced at halftime, Hunter Yurchek did the right thing and not come out to introduce him, just so that there was no booing to happen. I look at this Arkansas-Louisville game as, you never know how essentially the March Madness brackets will turn out, who's going to be where. But I think that this is very possible. Any of it, whether it's Michigan State, Duke, Louisville, Houston, whoever else I've forgotten, like, these are teams that we're probably going to face one or two of them come March. So it's one of those, and they're going to be completely different teams by that time. But so is Arkansas. So, I am really happy, obviously, for last night. I was happy to see Trevin Brazil do what he did. It honestly, barring that late first half injury scare, I think he would have gone for 30 plus if that hadn't happened. Just because I do feel like he played a little bit timid. Hey, they made big shots when they needed to make big shots. I think they out rebounded Louisville by 10. I think it was like 46-36 or something like that. Got to the free throw line, I think 17 more times. I mean, I can't think of an Arkansas team that has shot, knock on wood, that has shot this well from the free throw line. Because in years past, we've been between that 60, 65, 66 range. So it's really positive to see these guys step up to the free throw line and knock them down.
Yeah, outside of DJ going 0 for 2, I mean, Brazil 2 for 3, Acuff 5 of 7, Malik Thomas 8 of 9, Ewan 6 of 8, Billy Richmond 6 for 6, 27 for 35 as a whole, 77%. So, and then 76, 13 for 17 in the second half, so 14, 18 in the first half. But yeah, that is going to be big, and especially from your guards, that they're going to be fouling you. So, DJ, this is my critique. Yes, I want you to be the floor general, but you better start getting better at your free throws, because you're going to be the one. You're going to have the ball in your hand, and they're going to be the one that fouls you. And if you're not hitting your free throws, you could cost Arkansas a game. I mean, that's how that goes. Late fouling, you're down 7, and you got a guy that's hitting 0 for 2 or 0 for 3. You can get a team right back into it. But man, just the fact that Louisville never led in the game, that is the craziest thing for me. Arkansas led from start to finish. And you talking about making a statement against a top 10 team, that's making a statement. You never let them come in and make it seem that they had a chance to win this game. I'll go back to the football thing. Bobby Petrino was not fired the end of the season, and they decided that they're going. I mean, it's.
I just went. I remember him saying that. I just pulled it up. So when there is a 5-day meeting window after a school announces a new head coach. A 5-day period begins for players to meet the new staff, but coach, and then there is a 15-day window to officially enter the portal. But then it also says no hire if Pittman was fired September 28th.
Yes. So I don't know if you would have 2 in the same year.
Yeah, so it's all, but this makes it seem like, I mean, there will now be 15 days that they can enter the portal. Who knows? I think you're going to see not a run, but you're going to see a handful of these guys leave.
Yeah.
But I think they were leaving no matter who the coach was coming in.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we heard today that KJ Jackson and Quincy Rhodes are returning. Haven't really heard anything on anybody else. I would venture to guess maybe we'll still see Omega Blake stay. Not 100%. Courtney Crutchfield, I'm not sold on. I wasn't sold on him coming here to begin with. I just didn't. I'm not saying that he's a problem, but at the same time, I think there's some attitudes that did get put in check, but who knows what'll happen with this team.
Yeah. And again, let's see what staff he brings in. There's a lot of people that can't come back. That's the biggest thing is there was a lot of seniors and transfers on this team. And that was one of the things that Silverfield touched on, was the fact that, he's at a place like Memphis, and you think a mid-major, Power 5 team, they're used to these, having to really rebuild your team, because you get up at Memphis and then you're going to go to a Power 4 team. You're going to go to an SC school. So he does have that experience. To see what staff he brings, see what type of players he brings in. I'm really interested to see, because if you play this right, I mean, you can compete. Now, we're not expecting bowl eligibility the first year, but you can really make a statement to show that you're going to bring in a program, and the money's right. There's no telling. You get this financial stability that you're talking about. You could have a good squad coming in, and you could have a bowl eligible team year one. That's where we're at now. So
Does he set himself up for, I'm not going to say problems or issues, but since he's been here, he has said multiple times that it's not a 3-year plan, it's not an extended plan, like it's now. Because of the portal, because of NIL, because of all the stuff that it's now. So does he set himself up for, or set fans up for disappointment?
No, because I don't think, and this is where, again, look at the coach we're getting, and there's no disrespect from Silverfield. If we would have got a Lane Kiffin, if we would have got a Golish, if we would have got one of them higher targets, then I think the expectations would be higher. But now we know we're getting the guy from Memphis to come in and rebuild this thing. We know that we are the worst program in college football or the SEC. They know what the state is. I don't think that they're holding him too much to what he's saying. Just like when he was saying we're going to have one of the best recruiting classes we've ever had. If that proves so, cool. But this guy is trying to come in. This is his first time at a big boy program. He's been at Memphis forever. So you got to kind of understand that he's going to come in and try to say things to get people to believe. And it's weird. I don't hold it against him, but yet I don't believe what he's saying at the same time. The expectation's not there to sit there and buy in. And I think Arkansas fans are so callous to it that they're just like, okay, yeah, here's another coach coming in saying we're going to change the world. We want to see it on the field. I think we're in agreement on that. No matter what he says, we're not going to hold him to it because it don't matter what you say. We want to see it on the field.
Mm-hmm. And, I thought it was kind of crazy that, Hunter announces during the press conference that after Silverfield's speech that there was a 7-figure donation, given afterwards. I don't know. It's just,
Hey, I'm in sales, so to me it was like that was a big sales meeting. It was like a quarterly sales meeting, and hey, we're trying to get this client, and he talked with him 5 minutes, and he got this $1 million sale. It was like, I understand it, but I think people are so fed up with Hunter Yurchek, and I don't think that he's totally lost. I think if he starts inching his way back in, maybe let's see how this goes. He can, but give the Razorback fans some time. Don't make this hire and then automatically think you're in the cool club again. Like that's what's happening. He thinks because this hire landed, he kept it under wraps. He says that we're going to do this. He says we're going to do that, but we've heard all of this before. I want to see it on the field. I want to see 4 stars, 5 stars. I want to see people coming from Georgia or Alabama or Texas or Ohio State, these Oregon. I want to see big players come to Arkansas. I don't want to see these people that come in from these community colleges or D2, because all due respect, you can get a few of them, but if that's what you make your team of, that's what you're going to be. So you need to get some receivers that are D1, SEC caliber players to come in and ball out, because that's where you're going to start competing. Like we've both said for years now, you can have a top 15 recruiting class, but still be 15th in the SEC. And I'm telling you right now, with Vanderbilt flipping, I don't know if it come out if it was true or not. Somebody was saying the quarterback.
He flipped from Georgia to Vanderbilt.
So if you got Vanderbilt flipping a quarterback from Georgia, Arkansas, you're on the clock. That's where you need to be. You need to be flipping some of these players. You look at LSU and Ole Miss having their fight and their war right now. People from LSU going to Ole Miss. These are SEC players going to SEC programs. And that's where Arkansas needs to be with this class, this transfer portal. If you've got the money that you say you've got, you have people that are scouting this talent and evaluating who's going to fit your style of play. This is where you don't have to go home run. We're not expecting you to bring in a team where you're going to be ranked and 8 wins. Just give us an idea of where you're going, what type of players. We don't expect you to get every single one of them, because the trust isn't there. Then in year 2, we know where we're going with this program. That's all we want. We want to see wins on the field, and we want to see that there's promise that this thing's going the right direction.
Yeah. It's made me some of the comments look up. So leaving the team, so exhausted eligibility, since we don't know who's going to hit the portal, but Taylon Green, Mike Washington. The decision to make will be AJ Green if he's going to apply for a medical red shirt because he was hurt once again this season. Let me see. Rohan Jones, Andreas, and I'm going to obviously Posca. I can't ever pronounce it.
Oh yeah, the tight end. I thought you were talking about the other wide receiver.
The tight end. So Omega Blake exhausted eligibility, Raylan Sharp exhausted eligibility, offensive lineman Carmona, Doomerville, Robinson, and Walk, and then a decommit, and then defensive line.
Is Neil out of eligibility?
I'm just now getting to the defense.
Okay,
That's what I'm looking at. Keyshawn Blackstock, they're going to see if he's going to get to do the Diego Pavia role and get an extra year of eligibility due to JUCO or whatever. Justice Boone, they're going to see about applying for a medical red shirt from 2023, so they're not sure. Danny Sali, Diego Pavia role. Cam Ball eligibility, Philip Lee eligibility. So let me see linebackers. Stephen Dix eligibility, eligibility, Waylon eligibility, and then Julian Neal eligibility, Smalls eligibility, Kenai Walker eligibility, Caleb Wooden eligibility. You're going to lose just like your whole secondary because Neal's, Smalls, Walker, Wooden, Larry Worth, Jordan Young, have all exhausted their eligibility, and then special teams. You're losing your punter.
Yeah. And that's where, okay, look at Oklahoma and what Venables has done. I know Silverfield is an offensive-minded coach, but if you go out and get a defense, look what we've done with this offense. We had a top 5 offense or the most explosive offense in the country, horrible defense, and you won 2 games. Oklahoma has a par offense, but a very good defense, and they are battling to get in the college football playoff. So you know that you need to have a defense, and you have no defense coming back, which the defense is. That's why I was asking Neil, because that was really the one bright spot that I seen consistently on the defensive side of the ball. He is not. So you're going to have to need a lot of money. I think what they are saying, significant increase. That's my only worry is I know you're not coming out and saying, but you're having to rebuild a whole team. Are you going to be satisfied with KJ Jackson coming in and being the guy? Is he going to be an SEC quarterback? You have 2 pieces that are coming back that, you look at the 2 big names, Quincy Rhodes, KJ Jackson. All right, now you're having to build 20 more guys. And then another, is it 105 now or whatever?
I think 100 total, yeah.
So it's a tall task.
Definitely. And I know some people look at this differently, like, oh, we lost a handful of, or we had a lot of players decommit after conversations with Silverfield. I went and looked at the players that announced they were decommitting from Arkansas, and they were 3 stars or below. And so that just told me that he has a different picture for this roster, for his roster. And I felt like today too, there was a lot of things, like, and I believe you text me it, that Silverfield wanted to poke at the previous coaching staff for Arkansas, but he bit his tongue. He danced around it several times. So, and I will say this too, I know he was hyped up still in that press conference, but you can slow it down a little bit. Like I felt like he was just talking to, and that's just me nitpicking or whatever. Just talking. He had a lot to say. He's talking fast. And during it too, like Hunter Yurchek's little, kind of cocky demeanor during this thing. Like, oh, I kept the search close. My people didn't even know until the night after the Missouri game that who was going to be hired, blah, blah, blah. It's one of those things that the cockiness of Hunter Yurchek coupled with the laughing stock that he's made himself even more when he has these college football playoff interviews, coupled with not being able to read the room with fans. I'm tired of him. I'm tired of looking at him, tired of seeing him. And I know we have him on the thumbnail photo for today. But I just hope he doesn't get in Silverfield's way, is basically how I kind of look at it. And I did notice too, when Hunter kept talking about the money side of things, you notice he kept saying legitimate NIL. He said that phrase multiple times. It was legitimate NIL. But at the same time, if you're going to be in the top half of revenue and NIL and money spending overall in the SEC, that still doesn't put you to the top. I mean, it's one of those things in the SEC, everybody else.
He said he didn't want to be at the top.
I know. That was right there too. Don't want to be at the top. We're going to be in the top half. Here's how I look at being in the top half. And it's kind of like when it comes to recruiting classes, even if you're in the top half of the SEC in the recruiting class, like, you're still not at the top. You're still not up there. You're still not competing. Because when we look at, we had a number 15 recruiting class or number 16 recruiting class, or we were 20th in, nationally in recruiting this season or this off season. Great. That still put us at 10th in the SEC or 12th in the SEC. And that's how, when I hear things like that, it's just, I'm like, that still doesn't mean that that's that great. And I made the mistake of looking at next year's schedule, and it's rough, because now you look at it like you've added in at Vanderbilt. You're playing South Carolina. Yeah, South Carolina had struggles, but they still have Lenore Sellers at quarterback. They're see if they can bounce back next season. It's a very tough schedule next year. Plus, you're going to at Utah. Do I think Kane Archer is going to be starting for Utah? No, I don't. But it's still one of those things that Utah's a tough team. Next year is going to be equally, if not more, brutal than this season schedule wise. I'm not going to say the outcome will be the same, but schedule wise, it's brutal.
Yeah. There's no, without looking, let me pull it up real quick, because I'm just going to see what the cupcakes are, if there's any cupcakes.
North Alabama.
So North Alabama, yeah.
You've got North Alabama, Utah, and Tulsa are your non-conference.
Okay. So North Alabama and Tulsa.
Your home games, and these aren't cupcakes, obviously. So your home games are Georgia, LSU, Missouri, South Carolina, Tennessee. Your road SEC games are at Auburn, at Texas A&M, at Vanderbilt. Yeah. So, I will say at least you only have 4 road SEC games.
Yeah.
And you've got 5 at home. Are they going to play a game in Little Rock next year? I don't know. Make it North Alabama or Tulsa. But we'll see what happens.
I think they need to worry about rebuilding the program. I think that should be the last thing that they're worried about on right now. This whole, you're not having to, so don't even worry about it. Worry about getting your team program built and get on, because that is brutal. Dodging money questions, non-answers. That's fine, but to me, it gives me that PTSD of, okay, you said that you thought that the revenue share was going to be an equalizer. So I don't trust him when it comes to what he says with the money and what we have. And another thing, here's the thing. If you are bragging and being that kiddish about somebody, and you had to point that out in a meeting that somebody gave you a 7-figure donation, that worries me, because that means that's a big, big, big deal to you. And if you're needing $30 million or $35 million, a seven figure, probably, whatever you want to call it, probably 1.5 million or a million, that's a drop in the bucket. And then you double down on that and saying, well, that's going to put us in the middle of the pack. I don't want to be at the top. So you don't want to get Arkansas at the top. So
I mean, it's working out for Texas Tech being at the top.
Yeah. So, Hunter, do you want to continue being a mediocre? Because you're saying middle of the pack, top half. You're dancing around wanting to be in the middle of the SEC. You're dancing around saying, I am content with us being, and you're not going to compete for a national championship if you think you're going to be in the mid tier, because how many 2-loss teams are going to get left out of the college football playoff this year? We were just talking about that with the 16 team that you could lose 3. We're seeing changes in the college football playoff. Vanderbilt's going to be left out as a 2-loss SEC team. That is insane. And until they do away with the automatic qualifiers or go to 16 teams, I gave my thoughts about it. We'll talk about it here in a second when we go deep dive into our college football playoff. But it's not going to be as easy as what I thought going into it, because there were so many teams now only losing 1 and 2 games all over. It's not just the Big Ten in the SEC. There's a lot of teams that are coming out there and they have a legitimate shot at making this college football playoff. You have to either go to 16 teams and do away with these automatics.
Well, and we talked about it a little bit. Do you think that with them putting how they did it, with like Texas being right ahead of Vanderbilt at 13 and 14, that they're just trying to force the 16 team expansion?
That was my theory. I said it a couple of weeks ago that I think this is a ploy, that they're having to expand or extend the vote on, are they going to expand the college football playoff to 16 teams? So that tells me that there's still people wanting it or not. I think that Vandy is going to be the sacrificial lamb. I think they're going to be that team, and they're popular. They're probably the most popular team right now outside of LSU, and they're going to the Liberty Bowl. They're the most popular team right now, maybe outside Ohio State. But they're not going to make the college football playoff because they're 10 and 2, and they had some losses, or some key losses. And then it was Texas and Alabama, right?
And what
that they lost to.
Yes.
So yes, it was strategic. I think somebody said they haven't moved up a spot in 3 or 4 weeks, and they have not lost a game. So how do you not move up any at all and you keep winning? That's exactly what they're doing. They're forcing the hand that this thing goes to a 16-team playoff. And there's nobody that can kind of convince me otherwise, because you have what's Reese Davis come on there. ESPN doesn't do. No, bull crap. It's all a business. And that's all we've heard from players, coaches, ADs, TV people. This is a business now. You're in entertainment now. You're in the big, big world now. This is not college amateur athletics anymore. And you're going to start seeing a taste of this professional world where they're going to be like, look, we want our way. We're going to make something happen.
And this right here, this is what we've talked, like Joey McGuire talked on this earlier in the week, and it's been going around. I sent it to you, sent it to some friends. I mean, Joey McGuire, Texas Tech head coach, had, the perfect plan, because, and I'm glad, I will say today, I'm glad Hunter Yurchek talked about the college football calendar being awful. Joey McGuire spoke out about it, that, we have these week 0 games, that needs to be week 1, move it up to like around August 23rd. And you're essentially playing your playoffs in the month of December, and then you're playing the national championship on New Year's Day. And I wholeheartedly agree with it. Think of the ratings.
Mm-hmm.
If you had the national championship on New Year's Day, the ratings that you would have for that game instead of being the Monday, whenever it is. If you had it on New Year's Day, you would blow all of your, I believe, your national championship ratings out the window. 100%. They need to fix the college football calendar because it is absolutely awful for what they do.
Yeah. And right, this statement, what I was talking about with Goalish being a higher target is that was the name that got leaked out. That was the name that everybody thought and ran with that Arkansas was going to get as a coach. So we're talking about higher target. They got excited for him being the coach. So if he come in and then he was saying what he wanted to do with his team, there'd be higher expectations because there was a lot more people behind that hire. Then when Silverfield first got here, nobody liked the hire. And I think this Goalish thing had something to do with it because everybody had their mindset on Goalish being the head coach when they didn't get it after feeling like they lost out on 2 or 3 other targets. There's going to be a little bit slack because there's just not that belief in Silverfield as there was Goalish. So it wasn't like saying Goalish was that much of a better coach. I'm just saying a higher target. Everybody thought he was the one. Then it didn't work out. That was the explanation behind that. But
speaking of that, I'm going to put this up on the screen right quick because I figure here in a second we'll hear from Vision Exteriors right quick. But I just want to know, I sent this to you and we said we're going to bookmark it, but I want to know if the people watching haven't seen it. This is from our guys over at SEC Unfiltered. And this is where they have their new coach rankings, or grades. I just want to know what the viewers think and the fans think of this list. And just put in the comments, let us know what you think of who got A's, B's, C's, D's, etc. And what do y'all think about Silverfield being at the bottom of both of them? I'm just curious because I think that some of this is a little bit of nonsense.
Well, that's what we could start our second segment off with. While we're taking a quick commercial break, drop your comments. And while you're at it, go make sure you're downloading, liking, subscribing to our podcast over on YouTube, on Spotify, everything. Click the link. We put a little QR code in our opening where you can go right to our YouTube channel. We're trying to really divert a lot of our traffic over to the YouTube side and stuff. So while we're on a quick commercial break, go like and then give us your thoughts on the coaching list. We'll be right back. Looking to enhance your home's curb appeal? Look no further than Vision Exteriors. As your trusted roofing, siding, and exterior experts, we're here to transform your property. Our skilled team ensures your job is not only functional, but also aesthetically pleasing. Along with roofing, we also offer window, gutter, and siding insulation to boost your home's appearance with our quality options. Visit us at www.visionexteriors.com or call us at 479-397-4770. Let's make your vision a reality. And want to thank Vision Exteriors for the sponsorship for this Thursday edition. But the list to me, I am really having a hard time with the D plus. I'll take the C. I'll take this for Silverfield. I'll take that. But yeah, Nicholas, I want this thing to fail hard. LSU fans are being so cocky about this hire. They are acting like they've never been there before. There's one certain one that has just been, it is insufferable. They are acting like LSU is now the Kentucky of basketball. That's how they're acting over this hire. They think that they're automatically going to win 3 to 4 national championships off of this. And I want that thing to go down in flames. I want Alabama to lose the SEC championship and DeBoer go to Penn State and then that job open. Because guess what? Lane would probably leave y'all in a minute to go to Alabama.
Mm-hmm. What I've been saying for the last several weeks, like Lane Kiffin's end game in his coaching career is Alabama. And you can't tell me otherwise. He couldn't tell me otherwise because obviously his word doesn't mean anything. I can't consider it an F as much as I would like to see it fail, just because it would be hilarious. It's one of two things. Is LSU going to get one national title out of this? Are they going to get multiple national titles out of this? Or is it just going to flame out altogether? I think they at least get one. But it's one of those things. Act like you've been here before because you have
Yeah.
been. So I don't think that Silverfield is a D. I would put it at a C. But at the same time, I don't see how you can put Pete Golding ahead of him. I really don't. Will Stein is one that is intriguing coming from Oregon, their offensive coordinator, because he was talked about being interviewing here previously, which Hunter said that he talked to 25 to 30 coaches, and then that went to 9, then that went to 3, then that went to 2, then 1. Who knows what all really happened? There's a lot to be kind of meh with these lists because you never really know. And then to see today, it's not SEC, but Oklahoma State and Eric Morris, him only getting 3.5 or 3.7, $3.8 million. And that was kind of surprising just to see that that's all that they paid. We'll see what happens there, but no, I don't think Ryan Silverfield should be at the bottom of this list. I truly believe that Pete Golding should be at the bottom of it.
Yeah. And I guess if are we, and I really would love context to it though, too, because it's like you're just talking about who they got, because why are you giving Summerall an A? Like, I don't think he's going to go to Florida and do a good job. Will Stein at Kentucky. Kentucky had that 1 year with Snell, and then, they've fallen off. We're going at Auburn. You tried to bring in Freeze, and it didn't. I mean, you've got to go put this whole thing. How much money are they getting? Where's the program going to be at? Who's going to be your coordinators? And was it Ohio State lost their offensive coordinator?
Brian Hartline went to USF.
So where's Ohio State now? We're talking about this college football playoff, and Ryan Day lost his offensive coordinator. Now,
he also, though, the national championship, he lost Chip Kelly too.
Yeah,
and I mean they're still right up, but time will tell. Ty, to answer your question, so when they moved to the 9 games, Greg Sankey in all his glory came out and said that there were going to be some teams that had to double up back-to-back road games, and of course Arkansas was one of the lucky ones in that mix that get screwed in a sense and have to play Texas back-to-back.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the way I look at it. So we not going to get any handouts or get any.
But we got to start winning. We got to start winning. And, you're looking at another thing that Hunter Yurchek said was they're talking about staff hires. So who are they going to bring in for coordinators? I mean, they could totally flip this thing around. Mm-hmm. I love his energy. I love that he understands what he's facing, what he's up against at Arkansas. And the thing is, the past 4 Power 4 teams he's played, he's beat them: Arkansas, Florida State, Ole Miss, I believe, and I can't remember who the 4th one was. But he's beat SEC teams. He beat ACC teams. So he knows how to win. Now, yes, that's one game in a given year that you're having to do this. You're not playing a gauntlet of a schedule, but yet you don't have SEC talent. You don't have SEC players. But neither has Arkansas in however long. You've had a full roster of SEC talent. You'd have to go back to 2019, the 9-win season when you had some complete dogs on your squad. And I think that's 21, yes. You got to find a roster like that. Some guys that are come in and they're going to work their tail off and they're here to play, especially on the defensive side of the ball. You're going to have some guys that are not afraid to hit. They're not afraid to tackle. They're not afraid to get after the quarterback and make a statement that we're trying to put Arkansas back on the map. That's what it is going to take.
See if you can do it. I think the coordinators are going to be big. I guess we've heard that it's a possibility that we're going to see his offensive coordinator. There's been talk that his wide receiver coach will come over, and from what I hear, the wide receiver coach is his number 1 recruiter. So we'll see what happens there. There's another name that was thrown out that's like a secondary coach or something. I think he was with Western Michigan or something most recently, but was previously with the Chargers as NFL experience. So I don't know if that's the NFL experience he was talking about today. I think that he's going to bring in a mix of coaches with various backgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'm most curious about the NFL experience and the SEC experience. And, is this they've coached against SEC teams or have they coached in the SEC? Because there's a big difference. I'm really curious. And he said, in the coming days, we'll see the staff come to a head. There's been rumors that Scott Fountain may stay as special teams. I'm just kind of on that boat of our special teams have not been that special outside of kickers. So we'll see what happens. And I think he's bringing his strength and conditioning coach over. As long as we're not seeing, this guy runs 22 miles an hour every offseason, I'll be all right, because that got a bit played out.
Well, if you peel back the layers and peel back the curtain, that's all they had to brag about was how fast they were, because they sure the hell couldn't play or tackle or keep people from scoring, but they could run fast. That's what where it is. And hopefully we're turning a new leaf in that program. Hopefully, we can see light at the end of the tunnel. We can see a team that, okay, I can see them year 2 being a 6-7 win team. If they don't, but they're working their way up to it. The 2-win stuff's got to stop. They said what, second, third time in how many years? Third 2-win season in the last
since 2018, 2019, and then this season.
Yeah. So it's time to get that out the way. It's time to come in and really show you really want to be here. You really want to play. And now if you're getting the money, this is where this is on Hunter's head. If you're going to, I think his contract runs out in 27. So if you're going to talk all this stuff about you've made these changes, if this isn't his year, this is your chance to make this work. If you don't start saying that you're putting money in this program, and then you are, then then there's no more. He's got to go. And I already still want him to go. But you can't play around anymore. You can't think that you're going to skate by in the middle of the pack and be the whole thing, him saying he doesn't want this program to be at the top of spending or being the top. I don't know why you would say that.
How many wins after year 1 for Silverfield to not be on the hot seat? I just think you have to show improvement. So if you won 4 games year 1, it needs to be, 5 to 6. Like, you just need to have a steady improvement. I don't think you can. I'm going to compare the situations, but not the coaching types. You can't have a 3-win season, all SEC schedule or not, and then have a 9-win season and then just get worse year after year. Like, you can't set the bar too high year 2 or year 3 and then just underperform every year afterwards. So, who knows?
Yeah, and it's hard to gauge.
Or you could get 6 or 7 wins.
This year 1's brutal. We got to look at who they're paired with in this 9-game SEC schedule and where they're at.
Mm-hmm.
This is a different ball game now, and that's why I was saying I thought it was imperative to fire Sam Pittman at the end of last year, so you're not in this boat now when you're already facing 9 SEC wins or SEC games. That's the thing. You could have had a 4-win, 5-win year, 6-win, whatever, and then built on that. But they screwed the pooch, and that's all on Hunter Yurchek. He wanted to ride with – it's weird. He wanted to ride with Sam Pittman and Bobby Petrino, and Bobby Petrino wanted to ride with Taylor Green. You brought in KJ Jackson, throws a touchdown pass, and you bench him. That right there is the epitome of Arkansas football. And it showed that they didn't care, that they're worried about putting things on the stadium instead of putting fans inside the stadium. And I think they had a big wake-up call. And I guarantee you, those big boosters, those big money people, if you're walking up to Hunter saying, I'm giving you a 7-figure donation, you better figure this damn thing out. So,
well, if you had to ask Hunter Yurchek how many wins year 2 for Silverfield, it would probably be this.
6, 7.
He's never going to live that down.
Yeah,
and I'm never taking it off our little video player.
Oh boy, Adam, you got anything else?
No, I'm good.
All right. Well, we hope everybody has a good weekend. Thank you for everybody for tuning in. Vision Exteriors, all of our sponsors and listeners. Don't forget to hit that download button, the like button. Goes a long way to help us support us here at the Hawg Talk Podcast. Don't forget Sundays 6:05 Hawg Talk, Hawg HQ Live 8:05. Everyone have a good weekend, and we will catch you on Sunday.